Tonight, the deadly takeoff in Hawaii. The skydiving plane slamming into the ground, bursting into flames. All 11 people on board killed. The first images of the crash coming in. Our team is there. President Trump's Iran Uturn, calling off the military strike against that country with minutes to spare. What he's now saying about the U.S. and Iran becoming, quote, best friends. Also tonight, the president's sudden last-minute decision about the imminent ICE crackdown against family members living illegally in the U.S. Facing challenges, the race for 2020. Democratic candidates converging on South Carolina. Joe Biden looking forward after that stumble-on race, while Mayor Pete tries to balance a crisis in his city with campaigning for president. Officer ambushed, newly released body cam video. A rookie officer killed, the gunman opening fire as police approached the house. Highway horror, the motorcycle tragedy. 7 military veterans on a ride together struck and killed on their way to a weekend event. Without a trace, the urgent search for a missing college student. Her Lyft driver, one of the last people to see her. And America Strong, the 3-year-old boy who did not know how to swim, falling into a pool. The nursing student who jumped into action, what she did to save his life.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Tom Yamas. And we begin tonight with the tragic scene in Hawaii. The death toll rising, 11 people killed when their skydiving plane went down while taking off in Oahu. The accident, the deadliest civilian crash in the U.S. since 2015. The twin-engine Beechcraft slamming into the ground, employees of the Oahu Parachute Center and customers on board. The plane hitting a fence near the road, bursting into flames. Family members at the airfield possibly seen it happen. And we're now learning the identities of some of the victims, including a skydiving instructor and father. And tonight we have new reporting about that plane and problems it had in the past. ABC's Will Carr is in Hawaii to lead us off.
Tonight, there's heartbreak in Hawaii after a Sunset skydiving flight crashed and burst into flames just after takeoff.
Assist Battalion 4, Battalion 5 with a downed aircraft here at Mokuleia Beach Park.
11 people died, making this the deadliest crash in Hawaii since 1981.
In my 40 years as a firefighter here in Hawaii, this is the most tragic aircraft incident that we had.
The twin-engine Beechcraft took off around 6:30 p.m. from a small airport on Hawaii's North Shore, but instantly, witnesses knew something went wrong.
It starts to flip reverse as it starts to kind of decline, and then it kind of skimmed off those trees and then smashed down into the floor onto right up against that fence.
The skydiving excursion was operated by the Oahu Parachute Center. This is video of one of their flights posted on YouTube. Authorities say at least 6 of the victims were employees. Others on board, customers. Larry Lemaster was an instructor. Tonight, his friends and family are posting gut-wrenching tributes on Facebook. Anna posting a tribute saying, "My intense pain and anguish is indescribable. My son has lost his father." Officials say some of the victims' family members may have witnessed the crash.
So they left some family members behind and then they took off on the flight. So there are some survivors that didn't go on the plane.
And Will Carr joins us now from the scene of the crash on the island of Oahu. Will, we have 2 questions for you. First, this is the first time we're seeing your shot that's come up there. Is that the plane just behind you? And we also understand you have new reporting this plane may have crashed before?
That's right, Tom. This is the debris field behind us. And according to the FAA, the same plane was nearly involved in a crash back in 2016. There was a lot of damage there. Investigators are on their way to comb through this scene. They'll be looking into the plane's history, as well as if there was engine failure or if there was just too much weight on board since the plane crashed right after takeoff. Tom.
Will Carr, just steps from where that plane went down. Will, thank you for your report. Also breaking tonight, President Trump signaling a major U-turn in the showdown with Iran. 2 days after calling off that military strike with minutes to spare, the president now talking about Iran and the U.S. one day becoming, quote, best friends, and a possible plan to, quote, make Iran great again. Those were his words. But before that can happen, he says new sanctions are on the way. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega.
Saying he hopes to one day be best friends with Iran, today from President Trump, a softer tone for one of America's greatest adversaries.
Iran wants to become a wealthy nation again, become a prosperous nation. We'll call it, let's make Iran great again. Does that make sense? Make Iran great again.
Just days ago, the president said he believed that Iranian strike on an American drone may not have been intentional.
I think that it could have been somebody who was loose and stupid.
But today,
as I said, but regardless, they targeted something without a person in it, without a man or woman, and certainly without anybody from the United States in it. So we want to be proportionate.
And tonight, we are learning more about his abrupt decision to call off a retaliatory strike with just minutes to spare. The president now says he made the decision after receiving a more accurate count on potential casualties.
They gave me a rough estimate earlier, but I wanted a more accurate estimate. Everybody was saying I'm a warmonger, and now they say I'm a dove. And I think I'm neither. You want to know the truth. I'm a man with common sense. I didn't like the idea of them knowingly shooting down an unmanned drone, and then we kill 150 people. I didn't like that.
The president consulted with competing voices, and sources say he ultimately went against the advice of his national security advisor, John Bolton.
Do you have confidence in the judgment of your national security advisor, John Bolton?
Yeah, I do, because I have John Bolton, who I would definitely say is a hawk, and I have other people that are on the other side of the equation. The only one that matters is me, because I'll listen to everybody.
But now, a friendly posture toward Iran and its people.
In New York City, we have a lot of Iranians, and they're great people. They're very smart, they're very ambitious, they're high-quality people.
All right, Cecilia joins me now in studio. And Cecilia, we just heard it right there. The president softening his tone on Iran, but then just hours later tweeting he's going to impose major additional sanctions.
Yeah, Tommy says they're coming on Monday. You remember this just yesterday. A top Iranian official called sanctions economic terrorism. He warned if you don't want war, you shouldn't be thinking about sanctions. Tom, the president today said that military action against Iran is still indeed on the table right now.
All right, Cecilia Vega for us. Great to have you on a Saturday. Cecilia, thank you. One more major headline tonight involving President Trump and another about face. One day before his sweeping ICE crackdown in as many as 10 cities, the president started today firmly defending plans to arrest and deport family members illegally in the U.S. Hours later, President Trump suddenly reversing course. ABC's Rachel Scott is at the White House.
President Trump today on the White House lawn, standing firm on his deportation raids order.
What will you do if cities are saying that they will not comply?
The deportation raids, as you call them, are really a group of very, very good law enforcement people. They came into our country illegally, and we're taking them out legally. We're bringing them back to their country.
The operation called Family Op, all part of a plan to deport more than 2,000 undocumented immigrants in as many as 10 cities. Some city leaders firing back, refusing to cooperate. Others telling immigrants how to avoid arrest.
Every American should be outraged that an elected official would use the terror of families and children as campaign material.
The show of force was slated to target immigrant families in their homes, even those without criminal histories. The action reflective of a 2015 campaign promise.
You're going to have a deportation force, and you're going to do it humanely.
But it was a campaign promise he later backed off. And tonight, he's doing the same. Just hours ago, tweeting, "At the request of Democrats, I have delayed the illegal immigration removal process, deportation, for 2 weeks." President Trump's deportation rates are still behind those of President Obama during the early years of his administration. And tonight, ABC News has learned his move to pause these arrests came after a phone call from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who asked him to call off the raids.
All right, Rachel Scott joins us now from the White House. And Rachel, there's a report out tonight that officials from Immigration and Customs Enforcement also had concerns about those potential raids.
That's right, Tom. The Associated Press is reporting that ICE was so concerned that details leaked to the media could affect and jeopardize its agents. Tom?
Rachel Scott for us at the White House tonight. Rachel, thank you. To politics now and the Democratic hopefuls in the 2020 race for president. Nearly the full field of candidates descending on South Carolina this weekend, some confronted by their first major challenges of this campaign. Joe Biden drawing much of the attention for his stumble on race, and Pete Buttigieg returning to the trail after facing protesters at home. ABC's Tara Palmieri's in South Carolina.
Tonight, Democratic presidential candidates making their pitch to black voters in South Carolina, some facing the toughest challenges yet of their campaigns. Former Vice President Joe Biden coming under fire for his comments about working with segregationist senators in the past. His rivals, including Senator Cory Booker, calling on Biden to apologize. The two sharing a hug at South Carolina Kingmaker, Congressman Jim Clyburn's annual fish fry.
Do you think that Joe Biden should apologize?
If Cory is satisfied, I'm satisfied.
Some still say Biden's response falls short.
He's going to have to make a decision about whether or not he apologizes, but I've been very clear. I think that his perspective on this is misinformed.
But voters we spoke to say they're willing to look past it if Biden can win in 2020.
It is 150% important that we choose a Democratic candidate that can beat Trump.
I think Biden is our best chance.
And a community crisis pulling Mayor Pete Buttigieg off the campaign trail and back to South Bend. The mayor confronted by protesters demanding answers after a fatal shooting of a black man by a white police officer.
Did you just ask me if Black Lives Matter?
Yes, we want to hear you say it.
Of course, Black Lives Matter.
Fire your cars.
The mayor back in South Carolina today.
Mayor Pete, how could you unite the country when South Bend is so divided?
Not answering our question, but saying this is about problems at home.
My community is full of people who believe in safety and justice. We will heal and we will come stronger in the broken places.
And Tara Palmieri joins us now live. Tara, thousands of South Carolina Democrats showing up for those events, and the candidates meeting voters, but also prepping this weekend for their first big test next week.
Lives from Charleston, South Carolina.
That's right, Tom. Right behind me, Mayor Pete is getting a test from voters tonight in South Carolina at this town hall. But in less than a week, 20 Democratic candidates will all be in Miami for their first Democratic debate over 2 days. Tom?
We'll be looking forward to those debates. All right, Tara, thank you. And Democratic candidate Senator Cory Booker will be the guest on tomorrow's This Week. Tune in. Next tonight, new developments in the deadly ambush of a police officer in Sacramento. Newly released body cam video showing the moment officers came under fire responding to a domestic call. A rookie officer killed. Authorities now revealing new details about the alleged gunman. Here's ABC's Marcy Gonzalez.
Police Department.
Sacramento police tonight calling this an ambush on officers.
If you're in here, let me know. You're not in trouble, dude.
That spray of gunfire killing rookie officer Tara O'Sullivan.
Officer down, code 3, fire.
Captured in newly released video recorded by her training officer's body camera.
This is a high-powered rifle. Get out here now.
These unnerving moments just the start of a more than 4-hour-long shootout between police and the gunman.
He had multiple weapons in multiple buildings on the property, along with numerous rounds of ammunition.
Officers called to this house Wednesday as part of a domestic violence investigation. Police saying the suspect, Adele Ramos, monitored their movements using several surveillance cameras, firing on them repeatedly, including with 2 assault rifles, before finally being taken into custody. Ramos is now charged with murder and attempted murder. He's due in court on Monday. Tom?
Marcy, thank you. We move on out of the deadly storms in the Midwest. Possible tornadoes in several states tonight. Hail pounding down on cars in Sheridan Lake, Kansas. A severe weather threat from Texas to Illinois tomorrow. Let's get right to ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano. Rob, good evening.
Good evening, Tom. Already dozens of damaging storm reports, especially across Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. Here's a look at the latest radar scope. Savannah, Hilton Head, you're getting a severe thunderstorm right now. You see those clusters rolling across the southeast, also the Kentucky Valley and through the Midwest. Flood watches up as well. A lot of these have heavy rains. These severe thunderstorm watches, several states included, go up until 9 and 10 o'clock tonight. So still several hours left to go with this. And then tomorrow we kind of reset. Another wave of energy comes into the plains. So Oklahoma and eastward into parts of Arkansas and North Texas could see some damaging storms, especially late in the day, and more in the way of heavy rain over very saturated ground. So flooding looks likely. Tom?
All right, Rob, we'll stay tracking those storms into Monday. Now to the battle pitting a Jesuit school against the Archdiocese of Indianapolis. The church threatening to break ties with the school for refusing to fire a teacher in a same-sex marriage. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
It's a stark break from the Catholic Church. Tonight, a Jesuit high school in Indiana standing by a gay teacher.
Our decision, trying to do the right thing by our teacher and by our community. He's a longtime valued member of the school. He's an excellent teacher, highly qualified.
The school saying the Indianapolis archdiocese sent a letter demanding his employment be terminated because he's married to a man. But Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School refusing to comply.
Why can't they teach in a Catholic school? Why, if they're doing a great job, if they're fully capable of, they love their students and the students love them.
The archdiocese issuing a decree revoking the school's status as a Catholic institution, telling ABC News this is not about sexual orientation. Rather, it is about our expectation that all personnel inside a Catholic school abide by all church teachings. Tonight, a prominent Jesuit priest praising the actions of the school.
I think what Brebeuf has done very courageously will provide a sort of template or roadmap for some schools.
Tom, the school says it still hopes for reconciliation with the archdiocese. In the meantime, the Midwest Jesuits say they plan to appeal this decision all the way up to the Vatican if necessary. Tom?
Ariel Reshef for us tonight. Ariel, thank you. And they're back now with the mystery surrounding a missing college student in Utah, disappearing after attending her grandmother's funeral and last seen getting into a lift car. What we've just learned tonight from police. Here's ABC's Diane Macedo.
Tonight, a desperate search for a missing student from the University of Utah who hasn't been seen or heard from in days.
I just have no idea what happened to her, where she is. Nobody does, and it's pretty terrifying.
Friends and family say 23-year-old Mackenzie Lewick flew back to Salt Lake City from her grandmother's funeral in California early Monday. She texted her parents around 1 a.m. to say she landed safely. Police now confirm Lewick then took a lift from the airport to an address in North Salt Lake. What happened next is a mystery.
Whether she's endangered or not, that's a tough thing for us to say.
In a new statement, her family says Lewick even missed her midterms, something friends say is very unusual.
I miss her, and I just want to know where she's at.
Police say both Lyft and the driver are cooperating in the investigation. Lyft says in a statement, "We recognize how scary this must be for those who know and love Miss Lewick. The safety of our community is fundamental to Lyft." And tonight, friends are gathering in Utah, hoping to raise awareness about Lewick's disappearance and ultimately hoping for her safe return. Tom?
Diane, thank you. And up next, time now for our index in the massive crash in northern New Hampshire. At least 7 people killed, 3 injured when a pickup truck plowed into 10 motorcycles on a rural highway. Many said to be Marine veterans, part of the same motorcycle club. The NTSB now called in to assist in that investigation, and police are asking the public to come forward if they have any information about this crash. In Philadelphia, an emergency outside of a Walmart. Firefighters battling intense smoke and flames in a shopping mall parking lot. As many as 8 cars on fire. No injuries reported. That blaze is under investigation tonight. And news about former Red Sox star David Ortiz. Late today, the team revealing Ortiz has been moved out of intensive care at Massachusetts General Hospital. Doctors say he's in good condition after being shot in the back while in the Dominican Republic. Authorities now believe the shooting, you see it here, was a case of mistaken identity. And the bottled water being pulled off shelves tonight. Keurig Dr. Pepper voluntarily removing its Peñafiel brand from stores after tests revealed high levels of arsenic in the unflavored mineral spring water. That water imported from Mexico, sold at Target and Walmart. Finally tonight, the nursing student studying by the pool, she had no idea about the real test she was about to face. It's America Strong.
It was the worstest moment of my life, because it just took just 1 second.
Last month, 3-year-old Cameron Bryant was near the pool at his grandmother's apartment complex in Pembroke Pines, Florida, when he fell in. Cameron did not know how to swim and started to drown.
There was a child in the pool and not breathing.
Nursing student Diana Delgado happened to be studying nearby.
I was nervous, but I was ready.
Diana jumped into action, performing CPR on Cameron, who she says didn't have a pulse. Police who reviewed surveillance video of the incident say Cameron had been underwater for several minutes.
He should have been dead or a vegetable. Brain dead.
Thanks to Diana's quick thinking, Cameron is expected to make a full recovery.
Most people wouldn't think, for a second to jump into action for a stranger. She didn't know my son, and she got in and she helped him like he was her own.
Diana hopes to work at a children's hospital when she graduates.
I had to do it, I did something that had to be done.
The city of Pembroke Pines in South Florida honoring her, giving Diana a special award for her life-saving actions. Cameron happy and healthy, he was there to celebrate, and he had this message for her.
Thank you.
And we're also going to thank Diana for her bravery. Thank you for watching. I'm Tom Yamas in New York. GMA This Week in the Morning. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.